In process.
And then you're gonna have to share your screen.
I thought we weren't doing that. I thought we were just doing the countdown.
Oh,
The countdown's on it,
okay.
right?
Y'all good?
I don't know.
I'm jumping on right now to see if I am.
All right.
You know, the calendar invite does not have the link. It just has the ID number, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have the link.
Yeah, because everyone that hit the link last time couldn't get in and needed a passcode. That's why we got rid of the link.
Well, when you click on when you just go into Zoom, it's asking for a password and a.
Yep, and the password's right under the meeting ID if it asks for one. It didn't ask.
Okay, let's see here. I registered and now I'm going to join the meeting. There we go. Ta-da! Let's see if it lets me in. It says sign in to join. I don't want to sign in because I don't have a Zoom account. So that's not right.
Yeah, you should just be able to go to zoom.com and enter in the meeting ID.
Okay, let me try that. Yeah, everything says sign in to join. That's so freaking weird. Okay, hold on. Let me just go to zoom.com.
What's up, Brian?
Much. How are you?
Good, man. Trying to get Kendra on. We will be right with you all. Just trying to get Kendra on. Be with you in momentarily.
Recording in progress.
So everybody, welcome. What's going on, Leanne? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great. What's up, David? Good to see you again. Hey, Beth. Hey, Lisa. What's going on, Jeanette? Hey, Jennifer. What's going on, Adam? How was Florida?
It's beautiful, man. 75 and sunny. Son won all three of his games and had a nice bonding experience. So it was good. Got a
Perfect.
chance to see my uncle too in Clearwater Beach. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Lydia, good to see you. Jay Brown, great seeing you yesterday. Thanks for the wonderful tour of Hickory. Rafi, how are you? Carmen, what's going on?
Hi,
Carrie,
Chad.
thanks for
Sorry, I'm
joining us.
driving.
Hey, Carrie. What's going on, Jeremy? What's up, Race? Thanks for joining us. All right. I think this is the most important topic that we can speak on. And I believe there's three things everybody can do to increase their business. I want you to write them down. Number one is perspiration. First thing you can do is perspiration. That means work harder or work more efficiently. I will tell you because I've always considered myself as a hard worker and sometimes overwork myself. That is the least fun. The perspiration is the least fun, but you got to have some of it. So I think that's the first way you can do more business. The second way that you can do more business is automation. So automation. Cool. And the third way is delegation. So we have perspiration, automation, and delegation. Delegation's great. I love hiring people, give them an opportunity, but it is expensive, it's time consuming, right? So database is a system that you can mix in all three. What Kendra's going to share with you today is some perspiration, right? I will fill in some things that I believe that can have some automation. And there's definitely some things if you have team members or you're inspiring to have team members where you can have some delegation. But I want to give you a little lesson before I reintroduce Kendra. Okay. And this was a very, very painful lesson that I had to learn myself. So I've been doing this now. We are on year 23 in the mortgage industry. And I looked back in 2016 when I first started coaching, and my coach made me do an exercise, right? And I will just pull up and share my screen and go through the exercise with you, and then I want you to do it for yourself. And the exercise was this. He said, "Hey Chad, what do you do to nurture your long-standing relationships? How do you reach out? How do you keep in contact with them? What do you mail them?" And I said, nothing. They only came back to me if I did a great job. I had no outreach. I had no value add. I didn't mail them anything. I didn't have any client events. I didn't give them anything of value on my calls. I didn't gift them all things that we do now. And I'm sure Kendra will touch on some of those, but I did none of it, right? And the truth was at the time I had 3,800 past clients. 3,800 past clients. We looked at the data I was living in Chicago at the time, and I see some of my amazing Chicago realtors on. We established that people moved in my market every 7.7 years. So I had 3,800 people in my database that had already trusted me once to do their mortgage, to sell their home, to buy their home. We established the data says that Chicago is a little bit of a transient market and people move every 7.7 years. 493 people that I had opportunities to sell every year. And they'd already trusted me once. They'd already given me their business once, right? So then we look at it even further. And I was making 3,600 per transaction. I was ignoring $1.7 million of business every year. Now, let's say I'm only a good enough person to get half of them. I was still ignoring $800,000. So I'm super proud to tell you that I fixed that in my business. I have developed gifting. I've developed client parties. I've done it through perspiration, delegation, and automation, all those things. And I think it's always a combination of those three things. So that was a huge eye opener for me of the business that was right in front of me that I was ignoring. And my friend Jay Brown, who's on, turned me on to a podcast with Ed Milet. How many of you listen to Ed Milet? He just had Rory. He wrote what's the book called? Take the Stairs. Vanden Hayden. He just had him on. And what Rory said is 10% of the people you've already done business with will spend 10x more with you if you nurture them right. So, of the people you've already helped, those people, 10% of those people in there will spend 10 times more with you than they already have if you nurture them right. 1% of them will spend 100x. 100x. So if they bought $1 million property, there's one there. If you have 100 people, there's one person in there that can either get you to a person that will do $100 million in business with you. So that was just super eye-opening to me, of the business that I had ignored for many years, of the people that had already trusted me. So for those of you that are new, Kendra is a near and dear friend of mine. I believe she is the best realtor coach in the country. She has unbelievably changed my life. She's a godmother, I would call her, to my children. They call her TT. She is one of their favorite people in the world. She has an unbelievable impact on my life, both financially and professionally. And I don't think there's anyone else out there during a time where I believe you should be working on your business, because there's not much going on in your business. At least if you're like us, we're pretty slow right now. How many people are slow right now? Yeah, we forget this happens every winter, right? It happens every winter. So just know that this is a great time. I believe December and January is the time to work on your business. Set up some of that automation, set up some of that delegation, take some of the weight off your shoulders so it's not always your perspiration. And Kendra, if I know her, will have some perspiration and some work you got to do. But there's no better person to teach you on the database than my girl, Kendra Cook. So I'll let her take it away.
Thanks, Chad. Hi, guys. Merry Christmas. I'm very festive for you today. I am merry and bright with my Christmas earrings. I'm really trying to spread the Christmas cheer. So good to see you guys. This is probably, I have about 3 topics that I love to talk about: database, key influencers in our business, and time management, because I do believe I can get more crap done than any other human I've ever met. I don't really know why or how I was given that gift, but I'm pretty good at it. So excited to talk about this today. So let's jump in. So I can't see everybody, but who I can see on my screen, show of hands, how many of you love to cold call? Oh, good. Nobody. Because let's be honest, cold calling sucks, right? Nobody wants to freaking cold call. And so I love these people when I do these seminars and they raise their hand. Oh, I love to cold call. I'm like, well, I'll have a prayer vigil for you because nobody loves to cold call, right? So I figured out early on if I had to cold call, I was going to have to find another career because A, I don't like to be cussed out. And I don't like to piss people off intentionally. So when you cold call somebody, you usually get cussed out or you make them mad. So I eliminated that from my business really quickly. And I said, you know what, I'm going to build a relationship-based business. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. Cracks me up when I talk to people and they're like, oh, I got into real estate because if we were all in the same room, I'd make you raise your hands. How many of you got in real estate because you love people? Most of you would raise your hand, right? Because we love people. And I say, why don't you call them? Right? Why don't you pick up the phone and stink and call them? If we got in the business because we love people, then why don't we want to be with people? Why don't we want to talk to people? And this is the response I get probably 70% of the time. I don't want to look desperate. Let me help you. You are. You're desperate, right? You have mouths to feed and cars to drive and groceries to pay for. That is, none of that stuff is going down in price, right? And God forbid if you have to put a kid through college or two of them, right? So we are desperate to a source that none of us are doing this for fun. We're doing it for an ends to a means, right? And so I want you to very first and foremost remove the limiting belief that you don't want to look desperate. And the one way that I would tell you that I want to help you with that is I want to give you the complete two opposite scenarios, and then you get to choose. Okay. So on that, I don't want to look desperate side, what I hear you saying to me is, I'll let them remember me as they remember me. And I just pray that when they get ready to buy or sell, I'm so great the first time around that they're going to remember me. Okay. Now, let me give you a really quick stat. NAR says that every person in your database knows 5.7. I don't know who the 0.7 is, but there's some halfway realtors, right? But 5.7 realtors. Okay. So you're one of 5. You think one of 5 that never calls them is going to get the deal? That's what you're saying when you say, I don't want to look desperate. Let me give you the flip side to that. When you don't call them and you don't stay in touch with them because you're here on a Wednesday afternoon trying to better yourself, to be better for your client, what you're saying is go get on the internet and pick Joe Blow, who sold 1 house this year, and let him handle your biggest asset of your lifetime, because I'm sure you're going to pick the perfect one. So which side do you want to be? Do you want to get desperate and pick up the damn phone and call them and give them the service, the professional level of client catering service that you provide because you're here getting educated on how to do it, right? Or do you allow them to go to a stranger, and then you know what happens when they get disappointed? Guess where they go? To the internet. Oh, realtors are terrible. They're not professional. They didn't return my call. They stuck the sign in my front yard and never called. I don't want that label because right after my name it says realtor. Do you guys want that label? No. So as of today, no longer do you not want to look desperate. You want to look desperate. You want to look desperate to provide a client experience that nobody else can deliver. You want to be desperate for those clients because you want those clients to have their biggest asset of their lifetime protected. And you want to be desperate because you've got bills to pay. Let's be honest, right? So no more can we use the excuses. They know what we do and I don't want to look desperate. Okay, that is gone. So what I'm going to do today is teach you absolutely what a database looks like, who should be in it, what information you need, why you need that information, how do we use that information, how do we cater to that client, and what you can expect in results if you do it. Is everybody game for that? And I'm going to go fast. Okay. So let's jump in. There are 3 keys to a successful database. Number one is implementation. Now, I'm going to give you a lot of things today. Some of you may have already 2 or 3 of those mastered. Out of those 6, I don't want you to take all the rest of them and try to master them in the next 30 days. You will burn out, okay? But implementation looks like I'm going to do this one for 30 to 45 days and master it. And by March 1st, I'm going to be ready to put the next one in, and I'll do that one for 45 or 60 days, and then I'll do the next one. That's proper implementation. Not do everything for 60 days and then burn out and go back to doing nothing. Okay, so key to implementation, doing it properly. Number 2 is accountability is everything. Your loan officer that invited you here today, including Chad and his team, paid for you to be here. So it didn't cost you anything, but accountability is everything. So when you get off this call today, you need to commit to 1 or 2 things, and you need to text or call your loan officer and say, hey, hold me accountable to these 2 things. Maybe you're going to need some scripts. Maybe you're going to need a checklist. Whatever you need, they can get for you. So leverage that relationship and get the tools that you need to implement properly. Okay. And the third one is you're going to say, oh my gosh, this is going back to the basics. And you're exactly right. Here's the thing that I know from being in real estate for 30, about to tell my age here. Let's see, 35 plus years. Okay. From an assistant in the front desk all the way to owning my own brokerage, coaching some of the top realtors. I've been doing it for over 35 years. The one thing that I will tell you is the basics will sustain any market. So your market is down right now. We're going to go back to the basics. The basics to me is foundation. You've got to build the foundation. We're all in real estate. The foundation to a real estate business is the database. So if we're going to build a house on top of this foundation, we got to start here. And this foundation's got to be super tight. I'm guilty of it. Some of you may be guilty of it, but I'll run out and I'll chase this squirrel, and I'm going to do social media, and I do it for about 6 months, and then that falls off. And then I'm going to go do this, and I do that for a little bit, and that falls off. Listen, all you got to do is master your foundation and then start building on top of it. So this is going to feel like going back to the basics. I'm okay with it. You're going to have a heck of a foundation going into 2025. All right. So let's talk about a true database. There are a million ideas of what a database out there. A database to me is really simple. It's really simple. It is people who know, like, and trust you. People who know, like, and trust you. But people that I know, like, and trust. Okay? There's a 2-side coin to that. Because let's be honest, I know all of us, myself included, I pull up my database and I look at somebody, I'm like, oh my God, they were the biggest pain in the butt. Well, guess who they refer? Pains in the butt. So why do we keep them on our list? We shouldn't.
Put in
right?
the chat me if that's happened to you. I always say, Kendra, there's transactional deals and relational deals. And every once in a while, when I'm done with the deal, I just hit the delete button. So
Yes,
put me in the comments if that happens to you.
Yes. So listen, pain in the butt clients refer pain in the butt clients. Okay. So when you go through that database, your number 1 homework assignment between now and January 1st is print your entire database. Print it out. Go through Outlook, go through Follow Up Boss, go through Top Producer, Salesforce, whatever you have, and print out your database. Okay. That's number 1. Then we got to start going through there and looking at information we're missing. Are these people that we know, like, and trust, and that know, like, and trust us? And I'm going to move into that arena in just a second. But your database is people who know, like, and trust me. Past clients, personal friends, contacts for kids, parents, sorority sisters, fraternity brothers, whoever. Okay, that's your database. Now you're going to ask me, well, what database should I use? You just named about 5. The one you will use. The one you will use. If I tell you to go spend $5 grand on Salesforce and you never use it, it's a waste of time and money. I currently right now am using Outlook, and I'm okay with it because everything that's on my computer is also on my phone. If I'm traveling, I can make a call from anywhere. There's a whole note section. You can write in there what the last conversation you had with them or the last time you talked to them or whatever. So don't overcomplicate it. If you have one and you're not using it, that might be one of your January goals, is to get a tutorial training on it so you can start using it. If you don't have one, you don't have to rush and buy one. Okay. The CRM that I want you to use is the one you will use. All right. Now let's talk about how many people should be in your database. I don't know about you, but when I think about a database, I want to be in the flow with these people. If I call them, I want them to call me back. Or if I have a client party, I want a bulk of them to show up, right? I want to know their kids, their spouses. I want to be able to follow them on social media. So if I ask you to pull out your phone right now, I just did this on a previous webinar yesterday. If I pull out your phone right now and you open your contacts list and you click at the top, how many people in your phone? Well, mine is 4,508. That's how many people I have in my phone. That is not my true database. Okay. My true database is those 400 to 500 that know, like, and trust me. I know, like, and trust. I'm in the flow with them. I follow them on social media. If I call them, they will call me back for the most part. So I think the sweet number is 200 to 400. Let me give you another scenario of how to really know if you're in the flow with somebody. Use the grocery store test. If you're in the grocery store and I'm going this way and they're coming this way, do they know me and do I know them? Now, here's a funny story. I don't know anybody's names anymore. I swear, I speak to so many people. I know so many people. I have so many people in my brain. I don't really know their names, but if they're a past client, I know their address. So my team would always joke with me if somebody's walking up in a client event, I'm like, they live at 123 ABC Street, and they're Google, they're in our CRM to say Mr. Smith, Bob, Jones. I'm like, oh yeah. Because I don't know anybody's name, but I know their address, right? So do the grocery store test with these 200 people or 300 people or 500 people. If you wouldn't know them on the street, either you need to set an appointment and go have coffee with them and see if you still know, like, and trust them to keep them, or we need to move them to a drip campaign somewhere because we really don't know them. Okay. So I think database is not 5,000 people you've met at an open house or, your 4,000 followers on Instagram. Your database is know, like, and trust. We got to get intimate in relationship with these people. Back to what I said, we all got in the business because we love people, but we're not in relationship with them.
I think that's an amazing point, Kendra. You absolutely have to break out, hey, these are the people I'm in relationships with. I can ask them for referrals. They're going to respond back to me. There's some commonality there. There's some connection. And that doesn't mean that you just get rid of the other 5,000 people that you've helped or 100 people or whatever your number is. It just means you don't do this focus that Kendra's about to give you on all those. So absolutely keep the contacts, but it's almost like two different lists. Would you agree, Kendra?
100%. I was just getting ready to say, so Adam put in the chat, great question. What do I do with these other people? They go on a drip campaign. Because what I'm about to tell you is you're going to have to spend a little bit of money, not a ton of money. But if you're truly in a relationship with somebody, you're going to send them a birthday card, right? Or if they send you a referral, you're going to send them some kind of thank you gift. If you have a client party and they come in and eat a plate of food or have a cocktail or even an iced tea, it's going to cost you money, right? So these 5,000, 4,000, 2,000, 200 people that maybe you only have an email address for, or you haven't talked to in 5 years, put them on a drip campaign, right? Build out a list in social media and just start dripping on them. You get a monthly video from you about how to prepare your house for the spring market, a tip a week, or you know what, this is what's happening with rates. That's free relationship building, but you're not in the relationship flow with those people. MailChimp is super cheap. Slide Dial, you can do a pre-record or a pre-email. I mean, there's so many tools. This is the automation that Chad was talking about. The rest of your people go on automation until they become in the flow. The people we're in the flow, it's the daggum perspiration because we got to sweat and get as much out of these people as we can. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let's talk about, you've printed out your list. What information do you want from this database in the flow people? Okay. Obviously we want a name. I'm so surprised at how many people only have one name on a husband-wife partnership, or they only have one email. No. We email everybody because let me tell you something, mama and daddy ain't always on the same page. I know Kristen Lubin would buy a house tomorrow if Chad Lubin would let her. If I only was marketing to Chad Lubin, I would never get a sale. But mama's holding the cards there. So when mama finally pulls the instant card, daddy's going to buy a house. Okay.
Hey, you're giving away my secret that she's in charge.
So you've got to have, I use that as an example, but two people, 2 phone numbers, 2 email addresses. Okay. If you're calling the husband consistently and he never calls you back and you're a female agent, Leanne picks up the phone and calls Kendra, guess who's calling her back? Kendra, because the connection was with Kendra. right? And Leanne. It wasn't so much with my husband, Greg. So we've got to make sure that we have all the data we need. So 2 names if you have a partnership, 2 email addresses, 2 phone numbers, their address, obviously. 2 more things that I think are super valuable. Number 1, where do they work? Where do they work? And number 2, when's the wedding anniversary? When's the wedding anniversary? Okay. So let me tell you why those 2 things are important. When we talk about mining our database properly, when we fail to weave in details about their work, we leave money on the table. So what do I mean by that? Prime example, my lender for years and years in Nashville had a monthly happy hour for realtors. And I would always laugh at realtors who would say, I'm not going to a realtor happy hour because it's all realtors. I'm like, Dodo, you go there and pitch your, niche property that you can't sell, or you go there and you look for a niche property for a client. These are our peers. They're not our adversaries, right? We are in this business together. So anyway, I went and there was this guy standing on the wall. He was like a wallflower. And so I walked over thinking he was a new agent. I stick out my hand. I'm like, hi, Kendra Cook. Are you a new agent? He's like, no. And I'm like, well, why are you here? This is a realtor happy hour, right? And he said, well, I'm a friend of Sean's and he invited me. And I said, well, what do you do? And he said, I'm a senior financial planner. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, what does that look like? So he tells me he works with people who are seniors preparing to retire. He works with their money and their assets. And I'm like, well, can I get your card? I'd love to know more about what you do. And I'd buy you a cup of coffee. So I follow up with the guy. We have coffee. Come to find out, he does an annual review with all of his clients. And I say, well, if they decide they want to sell their big house and downsize to put that money in the market, where do you send them? Oh, I just tell them to call their realtor. I'm like, no. Most realtors only last 18 months in the industry. So their realtor may be gone. They're going to end up on the internet. They're going to get screwed over. You're not going to have the money to put back in the market. You should give them to me. He's like, well, that sounds like a great idea. So we formed this partnership, worked together. He was good for an average of 8 closings a year for many years in my business. Big sale, little purchase, 2 deals, same client. Their trusted financial advisor sent them to me. Did they interview other agents? Never, right? So fast forward, Larry and I have worked together for several years, and he calls me one day and he says, hey, I want to talk to you about listing. Cindy and I want to talk to you about listing one of our rental properties. And I'm like, oh, you have rental properties? And he says, yeah, we own about 300 doors. It's our retirement plan. I wanted to poop in my pants because I had never asked him about his own personal stuff. I just thought he only worked with people who needed to buy and sell. We don't ask the right questions of where people work and how you can leverage that relationship. Okay. So when somebody says they're a financial planner, dig deeper. Do you own real estate yourself? If you think it's a good investment, start asking questions. If they're a physician's recruiter at the hospital and you just think they work at the hospital, think of how many opportunities you're missing out to get some referrals from a physician's recruiter. That's another story I could tell you, another whole story. So we have to know where they work so we can leverage the place of their employment to get more business. That's about being in the flow, okay? The other one is the wedding anniversary. I did this with my key influencers. Big wow, quick story. If you take 10 clients a year, and if your budget allows and you want to do it for all 200, fine. But if you just took 10 clients a year and you put it in your calendar to call them on their anniversary is one thing, but the 10 special people of the year that you handpicked, you called Chad Lubin a week before his anniversary. And I say, hey, Chad, your anniversary is coming up next week. He says, yeah. I'm like, have you made reservations? He's like, no, not yet. I will. I'm like, where are you going? He tells me where he wants to go. He wants to go to Fleming's. I'm like, well, when are you going to go? Well, I don't know. I haven't decided. Tell me right now. I'll call and set the appointment. I'll set the reservation. No, I'll do it. No, you won't, Chad. You'll forget. And then you won't end up at Fleming's, right? Okay, we'll go Saturday at 6. All right, I'll text you when it's done. It's our dirty little secret. So I call Fleming's. I set the appointment or the reservation. Party of 2, Chad Lubin, 6 o'clock Saturday. And oh, by the way, I want to give you my credit card for $25 for a dessert for the Lubin family. When they're finishing up their meal, will you deliver this dessert on behalf of their favorite real estate agent?
Cha-ching. That is good.
And, You pay whatever the dessert is, 10, 15 bucks. The rest of it goes to a tip. They deliver it. You will get pictures. You will get text. There will be social media posts about it. So you do that for 10 people. It's a $250 investment. I want you to think for a second what your average commission is. If you only get one deal out of those 10 people next year, did it pay for your $250 dessert? That's in relationship. That's a relationship to me. I just had my husband mail Chad Lubin's 3 girls Christmas presents yesterday. I am in relationship with these girls. They need rain jackets. It was raining one day. Guess what they get for Christmas? Rain jackets. It's not rocket science. When you're talking to people and they say something, make a note in your phone. Right? We don't do a good job of being in relationship. That's why we don't get enough referrals from these people. So now you know the information that you need from them, right? Now, how do we reconnect if we haven't talked to them in a while? How do we make that first call? What does it look like? The first call is a call of apology. Hey, Lisa, I've not done a great job of staying in touch with you. It would look like this. Hey, Lisa, it's Kendra Cook at Cook Realty Partners. How are you? We'd catch up for a minute. Listen, I owe you an apology. I promised you I was going to stay in better connection. Life happened. I didn't do it. I apologize. Do you have a few minutes to reconnect? I don't belittle all the stuff that's happened over the last 2 years. I just owe her an apology, right? And then I reconnect. What are your kids wanting for Christmas right now? What are you doing for the holidays? You traveling? You in town? Are you still working at Dell? I'm just communication, right? You can use the acronym FORD, Ford, reconnect, take some notes. If I'm calling for an apology, I am not closing for a referral. All I'm doing is promising her that she's going to hear from me more in 2025 than she has in the last few years. Have a Merry Christmas. Talk to you soon. Then that's it. Okay. Now, when I call her 6 months from now or 3 months from now, now I pick up the phone and now I can say, how was your Christmas? Did your ski trip go great? Did everybody have a good time? Now I have something to weave back in. We're back connected. I'm looking to find a need and fill a need for her on every call. Find a need, fill a need. It's called FAN. Those are the acronyms I write. FAN. So Lisa, is there anything I can do to help you today? No, not today. Did you guys ever paint that pink bedroom? She says, no, we didn't. And then that's the need, right? I say, what if I connect you to my favorite painter when we hang up via email, give you his information. So after the first of the year, if you want to call and get an estimate, I trust Fernando. He'll take great care of you and you'll have his information. What's she going to say? No, of course she's going to let me send her the email, right? Send the email. Now I have something to follow up with again. But here's the thing. When you find a need and you fill the need, guess what she's going to say to me? What can I do for you? How can I help you? Is there anything you need from me? And that's when you can say, I value your relationship. I want clients just like you every day in my business. I don't want to chase them. I want to attract them. So when you hear somebody who might be moving to the area, just remember me and connect me. That's all I can ask, right? Now, I am not a pound closer. That's not who I am. I'm a relationship builder, okay? If I give her what she needs, she's going to help me. I just drip plant seeds. I'm going to send her a follow-up note when she sends me a referral. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And guess what? She starts coming around to my client parties. And then she calls me and asks me a question about rates. And before you know it, we're back in a relationship. Okay? That's what I want you to do. So when you tell me I don't want to look desperate, believe me, she's not going to remember me when I don't call her. But when I'm just providing service and I'm staying in a relationship with her, it does not look desperate. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So we have apologized. We've reconnected. Take copious notes on these conversations. So you write them in the file. You record them in the notes. So when I call her back, I can weave in those details. She knows that I listened, that I care about her and her family. She's more inclined to help refer me. Okay, that's it. That's the connection. Now, if I got her voicemail, I would do the same thing. Hey, it's Kendra Cook at Cook Realty Partners. I've done a poor job of staying in touch with you. I want to apologize. I do want to reconnect and I have some exciting news. please give me a call. Here's my phone number. Okay. When she calls me back, and she will, positive thought, she will. My exciting news is whatever's exciting. You guys are the communicators. You are the connectors in your community. So there's a brand new restaurant opening. It's called Voodoo Taco. We went there, one of their opening nights, we met the owner, Brian. Now, if somebody calls me and says, hey, I need a recommendation for a restaurant, I'm going to say, go to Voodoo Taco and ask for Brian, tell him I sent you. Right? So my exciting news is Voodoo Taco opened in the hood. Have you been there yet? You got to go meet Brian. Exciting news, right? If you know a school's having a fundraiser and they need the funds to help their indigent children who need school supplies, remind them of the school supply drive. Whatever the exciting news is, it doesn't have to be real estate. Remember, you're in relationship. My relationship with Chad is more than this. It is kids and spiritual and books that we pass back and forth and our spouses, and we travel together. I mean, we're in a relationship. Do you guys see how that's different than just sending a mailer once in a while or inviting them to a client party and then getting mad when nobody shows up? They're not in a relationship with you. Why would they show up at your client party and look like a wallflower? You don't call them for 2 years. Right? Okay. Chad, do you want to say something?
No, I just think this is exactly what we need during this time, and it's a great time of year to have some of this outreach, right? At before the holidays and after the holidays. And
Absolutely.
what better time to take notes and ask good questions than this time of year?
Right. And so let's talk about how do we maintain these relationships? Because I think that's the next step, right? We've got to reconnect, and then how do we maintain it? Some of this can be automated. Some of it's going to be on the sweat of your brow, but I'm going to give you 6 ways to stay in touch with them. Okay. Call. Easy way to track that. Last name starts with A. You call all of them 1 week. The second week, you call the people in your database that have a last name that start with B, C. There's 26 letters in the alphabet. You can combine P and X and Z and all of those. So really, technically, we work about 22 weeks. The first half, then you can recall them again the second half. So that way you have called all of them twice. Okay. Now, throughout this process, we're going to talk a lot about anniversary calls. That's another whole seminar, and we'll do that at one point in time. But that could give you a third call, right, on their anniversary date. And I will give you a step-by-step process for that later. But let's just talk about calls. Okay. All right. You can also call them that anniversary call to the mister. That's another touch, right? So technically, we could call these people 4 to 5 times a year. That's about how many times you should call somebody in a relationship, if not more, right? All right, then we mail. What do you want to mail to these people? I have people that mail recipe cards. Great. You want to mail a just listed, just sold card. Great. You want to send a letter of the heart. Great. You want to send a neighborhood newsletter. I don't care. But here's the thing that we get in our head. Nobody wants snail mail anymore. Guys, mail is not dead. I just mailed 100 freaking Christmas cards at 78 cents a piece for the damn stamp. Not to mention the cards, the envelopes, the printing, right? People are still mailing. I have so many credit cards or Christmas cards right now. Mail is not dead, okay? But not everybody wants mail. So that's why I'm going to tell you, call, mail, visit, text, email, right? We have to meet the client where they are, not where you are. And we don't know what people's connection level is. So you have to email everybody. You have to text everybody. You have to call everybody, right? So depending on what you want to mail and what your budget is, maybe you mail one thing a month. Maybe you send one every other month. But whatever you do, remember, once we implement it, it's never going away. So keep it within your bandwidth of what you can start that you can never stop. Okay. Let's talk about visit, mail, call, visit. You're like, there's no way in Haiti she can see 400 people a year, blah, blah, blah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I cannot go to 400 houses and see everybody. But what I can do is have a party and have them come to me, right? And if 100 people come to my client party out of my 400 person database, would I have seen those 100 people sitting behind my desk? No, right? Again, this is based on your budget. So don't get in the way of, I can't afford to do a client party. I can tell you 10 ideas right now, and half of them are free. Food drive. Have a canned food drive, go buy a $20 plate of cookies, invite them to your office to drop off food between this time and this time. You shake hands, you kiss babies, and you collect food. Now, here's a kicker. Do you guys know that your food drives suffer more in the summer, or your food pantries suffer more in the summer than they do in the winter? We're all super generous around Christmas and Thanksgiving. Guess who needs that food in the summer? The kids that are on programs at school and they're out of school and there's no food in their home. They can go to food bank and get a box. So do a mid-year food drive versus an end of the year food drive, right? You can do a pie giveaway. They're $7.99 a piece at Costco or Sam's or Publix. You can do a pie giveaway sometime during the year. You can do 4 Valentine's Day cupcakes from Publix for $4.99. Have people come by and pick up 4 chocolate decadence cupcakes. We're not talking about spending a whole lot of money. You can do a shred day. You can do a coat drive, for God's sake. Some of you live in Chicago. Everybody needs 6 coats there on top of each other. It's so stinking cold, right? You can figure it out. So don't get sideways of, I can't have these elaborate parties. If you can afford elaborate parties, go for it. We made a pot of gumbo. We had 12 people in our house on Saturday. We played left, right, center for $1 a game. Oh my God, if you follow me on social media, you saw this picture with all these dollar bills around me. I won the big pot. It was so fun. It's not about elaborate, it's about connection. Okay. All right. So that's your see each other. Now,
Kendra, can I add something there?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
also think we obsess about the people that are going to be there and how many people are there. I just had a past client event. The 40 RSVP, 22 showed up, but it was about the invite. 3 leads just came in this week, and they're like, "Sorry, we couldn't make it to the party. We were tied up doing XYZ, but we were thinking of you and we're thinking of doing a rental property." Literally, while I'm on this call, one of them just emailed, right? Well,
That's
were they
awesome.
really thinking about me, or did the invite to them trigger, "Hey, Chad's the lender, remember Chad"? I think it was the invite.
Right. And that's it. It's just the connection. Remember, we're just trying to stay in the flow with these people, whether they show up or not. The invitation goes. The one thing that I love when people say, I see you everywhere. I'm like, great. I want to be in your inbox. I want to be on a yard sign. I want to be on your text. I want to be on your social media. I want to be everywhere. You should want to be everywhere, right? So you can do email, newsletter, there's MailChimp, there's all of those things that are pretty inexpensive. So if emails you're getting, do an email newsletter, super cheap. You can do the housewarming gift anniversary drop by, a box of chocolates to celebrate their housewarming anniversary. Super easy, drop it off. You can mail these things if you have a spread out area like some of you may have and you service different areas, okay? So you've got mail, call, visit, email, text, and a gift. We also talked about the anniversary gift. So there is 6 ways that if you just did one of each for 12 months, that means you will have touched them 6 times in 12 months. How many of you are not touching your clients at least 6 times a year right now? Be honest. So now you have some systems around doing it. Pick 10 anniversaries versus trying to do all of them, right? Do a quarterly mailer, create a MailChimp template, and then it goes out every month. All you have to do is drop in let me tell you, most of the stuff that I borrow comes from Inman or somebody I follow on social media. I just make it my own, right? Create it so it sounds like you selling whatever it is you're selling, right? Rates going down, inventory this, whatever. It doesn't have to be a newsletter that's 7 pages long. It just has to be in front of them. Okay?
So
All right.
I heard letter of the week calls.
Yep.
Right. Great tactic. 26 letters in the alphabet, 52 weeks in the year. We should all be on Z for our second time by the end of this month, right?
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
I heard anniversary calls. I love that because I think that stands out, right? 'Cause a lot of people give birthday love, not a lot of people give anniversary love, and that you would remember that date just stands out. And remember, guys, our job is always to stand out, not to blend in. And I agree with what Kendra said on mail. I'm the mail guy. You're never going to get me on email. If you text me some stuff, I might kind of partially. look at it, but if you send me something heartfelt like a Christmas card or a evidence of success postcard of some listing, I look at all of them when I get the mail. Like I don't know what it is about mail, but I love it. My wife would be the phone call or the text messaging,
That's it,
excuse me,
yep.
right? I might
Yep.
be the phone call. So when we can't assume that everybody wants communication one way, we got to hit all the communication mediums.
Absolutely. All right, so we've talked about what a database is, who's in it, what information you need, how to touch base with them, how to make the calls, no more feeling desperate, remove that from our mindset, right? We talked about future plans to cater to them. Okay. I want to end on this, and then if we have some questions, I want to definitely make sure that we address those. So Chad gave you his scenario. I want to give you mine, okay, on how you can track this and how to really set some goals around it, especially since we're in December. So from years and years and years of tracking, I don't know if you guys know, but I've never bought a lead. So I don't know Commission Inc. I don't know Realtor.com. I don't know Zillow. I do have to tell y'all a funny story really quickly. I was on social the other day and somebody had tagged me in something on Lab Coat. I don't know if anybody is part of that group, but anyway, somehow it was they were looking for a coach or whatever, and they tagged me. And so I just opened it up and I was trying to find this how many people were like threw in my name or whatever. And the first one was like, I want to break down our cold lead source. And so it was this top agent in some market. And if you saw it, I'm sorry, it's not going to be exactly, but they have like their Zillow spend is $1,200 a month. They average 100 leads a month and they've had 2 closings. That sounds horrible. If I have to chase 100 people a month to get 2 deals total. So we're talking they've been chasing 1,200 people to get 2 deals. That sounds horrible to me. Then they did Realtor.com and it was like 70 leads a month, and that was the best. They've had 8 closings out of average 70 leads a month. That also sounds horrible. And then they had one other, Homes, the new home thing where they're spending billions of dollars all on TV or whatever. And they had gotten almost 1,000 leads in their first 6 months and they've not had a single close. Not one thing in there said anything about database. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like nothing in there. They were just telling all these cold leads. Okay, that is not me. I cannot help you with that. I cannot give you a script for that. You'll never hear me tell you to cold call ever. I suck at it. So from years and years of tracking this, here's a stat you can take. Take the number in your database and know that 15% of those people will buy, sell, or refer every year. So if you have 400 people in your database and 15% of them buy, sell, or refer every year, that's a possibility of 60 deals. Now, if you track your leads currently and you know your average closing conversion rate is 50 or 60 or 70%, which is pretty standard for a warm lead, let's go low and do 50%. Out of those 60 leads, you close 30 of them. Would any of you like to have an additional 30 deals in 2025? That's the math. And this is the only system I've ever used. I don't have any other system to give you. And from that, we're going to build on it and talk about key influencers and just taking a group out of there and leveraging a little bit more love in the months ahead. But most of us can't even track our data, right? We don't have this information of how many people are truly in our database that we're in relationship with. What should that number look like? So I'm going to challenge you guys. In January, I created a new tracker just for us as realtors. Chad can't use it. Your loan officer can't use it. It's not for him and them. It's for us. And it's going to track your leads versus appointments, and then appointments into a paycheck, or appointment that didn't turn into a paycheck. Why? Why are we not converting more of our leads? Is it a scripting issue? Is it the lead source is the problem? Is it we don't know what to say? We're calling the wrong people? We don't have enough data to assist our own businesses without this information. And I'll be honest, I didn't have this form and I had to do it all on my own, and it was not pretty for a long, long time. But I'm going to fix that in our industry. I will give this form to any realtor in America that will daggum use it so we can get better data. These guys, as far as loan officers, have so much better tools and tracking things than we do as real estate agents. So you don't want to miss January. I'm going to roll the form out. It'll auto populate for you. I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to talk about different lead sources, warm lead sources. How do we get more of them? But I think if you just start January 1 of tracking your leads and really working your database and get in relationship with these people, I think your warm lead count will go up. And if you think right now you need 100 leads to get what you want, you're sadly mistaken if they're all warm. It's just if they're not all warm. If you had 100 leads, you wouldn't need anything but 100 leads. You could get a lot of deals out of that. So that's my goal for you guys. Database, I can talk about it forever. I'm very passionate about it. But I'll give it back to you, Chad. So
I think that was just amazing, Kendra. Give it up for Kendra. We'll open it up for some Q&A. That was incredible. And guys, I felt embarrassed in 2016 when I shared those numbers with you. I'm like, hello, I'm ignoring $900,000 in business, right? And I don't mean to brag or try and impress you, but within 2 years of literally doing nothing to starting to call on them, having client parties, doing the anniversary calls. I do birthday calls on top of that, doing the letter of the week calls, and gifting them with a life event. One thing I would add is be on social media and see a life event. If someone has a baby, I send a Wubbanub. It's like $12, right? I have pictures sent to me of like 4 or 5-year-olds, like he still won't let go of your Wubbanub at 5 years old. There's no better message to get from your clients like that. Or I'll see them on their social media. I was like, kid's like 4 years old now. He's still got the Wubbanub, right? So if they're getting married, if their kids are going, I had a friend whose kid got drafted last year in the NFL. I sent them a big frame of him and him on stage with his whole family. It was like $200. I have 2 other NFL referrals from that. Right. So when you see these life moments, you can love on people and they don't forget it. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. But I went from doing nothing to making that $800,000 on just my database, just the people that I had ignored. I fixed it within 2 years and had my best year ever from past clients just 2 years later from fixing it. So I truly was ignoring $800,000 and I went and changed it and fixed it. And you can do it that quickly. Questions for Kendra?
There is one about I'm leaving about 50% messages and getting called or getting 50-50 callback.
Yeah.
The thing about that is change up your voicemail. It's just like anything else. Are you saying the right thing? Are you calling the right people? Are you, whatever. So the most callbacks is when you say, I've got some exciting news I can't wait to share with you. And like I said, it can be a fundraiser at a school, a restaurant opening, the rates have moved a middle school, whatever. If you're having the client party, you don't want them to miss that in the email. So the exciting news part usually gets people to call me back. You call me and say, I got something exciting to say.
Yep.
I'm probably going to call you back.
If I'm connected with somebody else, like if it's Kendra and I would say, hey, Jay Brown, Kendra and I were just talking about you, and I wanted to let you know what we were saying about you. I never want to say anything behind someone's back. Can you call me back so I can fill you in? I've never had someone not call me back from it. What are you talking about behind my back? And I'll say something funny, right? So especially
Lisa,
if you have that
Lisa has a question. Lisa, you got a question, girl?
Yeah, Lisa.
I do, Kendra. Hi, good to see you.
You too.
Thank you. I am not the most organized person. So when like you're talking and these are my notes on the back of a piece of paper that I printed out from the last time you spoke. And so what's the best way if I'm taking notes, talking to a client and finding out about the dates that their birthday is and their life events, do I input it into the database then, or do you have a special, like a book where you input all that information? Like, how do you stay organized with it?
I love that question. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a batcher. So what I mean by that is I take all my notes and then it's time blocked to do data entry all at one time. So like Friday afternoon when I really don't want to be making sales calls because I'm fried and I'm tired, there's a box of all my notes from the week, and then I can go in and type it all in the CRM, put it in my calendar. So batch it, put it in like administrative blocks, if you know what I'm talking about, like batch all your admin tasks and then your sales task day. So block out an hour, hour and a half sometime in the week to go put all your notes in your CRM, add recurring events to your calendar, all of that kind of stuff, and then eliminate the paper. Because the paper is how we get overwhelmed, right?
100%.
And so right now my desk is a little hairy because I too have a new coach, which is kicking my fanny. And so I've got 2 or 3 projects going, but by the end of the day, it'll either be in the folder or it'll be typed in my computer because I can't deal with the clutter, right? So I just had to learn I have to time block it or I don't get it in the CRM.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great question.
Something that's really helped me that both her and her husband taught me is like I'm kind of like that too, Lisa, and I will have papers everywhere. Everything needs to have its place. So at the end of the day, all my notes, they go in one box like that. That is my place for it. So I always know where they're at. And I do the same with my keys. I do the same with my wallet. I do the same with my watch. I always used to lose sunglasses. Now I have one specific spot for that. So both the cooks helped me out with that.
We might be a little anal retentive.
They are a little anal, but it helps out a lot. Karina, thanks for reading the book. Any of you first 4 people that send me their home address right now, I'm going to send you a copy of Kendra's book. Kendra just came out with an amazing book that will help you with your life, your balance, and just some great lessons that she's had during her journey. Beth says, what's a wubbanub? Yeah, a wubbanub's like this pacifier that's a stuffed animal that hangs off of it, and the babies just love it, and it's been the best. We always give that, or for like some of our higher end clients, we do tag in our database, Kendra, if someone's a repeat client or referred us business. So if they've been responsible for 2 deals, we kind of step up the gift a little bit. So we'll, Wubbanub's 25, they'll get a baby blanket. That's $100 because they've been responsible for more deals. So we do kind of give different levels of gifts depending on our relationship with them. What do you
And
think?
realtors don't do that because you'll get in trouble.
Okay. Yeah, that's
No, I'm just kidding. But fair housing is a big deal. So you have to be super careful about that because if you give one person $100 gift card and they refer you somebody and it's a smaller house and you gave them a $50 gift card, it could become very fair housing issue. So I learned from experience, not because that happened to me, but I was part of the person who got me into coaching initially. We did a deal, funny story. And we show up and it was my very first $1 million sale. And he brings a bottle of Dom to the closing and we pour and we toast and it was fabulous. And then 6 months to a year later, he referred somebody in his company to us that bought like a $250,000 condo. And we show up at the closing and he brings, let's say, a bottle of Asti Slavani or something. And the guy said, oh gosh, the only reason I worked with y'all is because my boss told me you served Dom at the closing. I mean, we both looked at each other like, holy crap, we're in trouble. And so my lender was like, okay, I'm going to step out and I'll be right back. And he was like, gone to the liquor store, came back, brought this bottle of Dom. We toasted to the kid, but all I could see was like fair housing, fair housing, fair housing. And so from that day forward, everybody gets the same closing gift because you can only write $25 off anyway, right? But let's be honest, if somebody's buying $1 million house and we give them $100 gift card, does it mean anything to them? No, right? So make your closing gifts unified. And if you want to spend $50 and get everybody a welcome mat, which is what I did, or, a cutting board or something that's shaped like your state, those are easy to, order 10 at a time. But I'm just telling you, there's so much red tape for us as real estate agents with fair housing and all that. Don't put yourself in a bad position.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thank you. That's why I need Kendra in my life to keep me to keep me out of jail and compliance hell. Leanne asked, hey, should my script be the same? Some of the people in the database, it's been like 10 years. And I'll answer that and let Kendra. I did do the apology and some of them had been in there for almost 10 years. And I just apologized to them. Most of them didn't call me back. So I think the ones that are closer and have a memory of you will probably be more likely to engage with you. But I did it for everyone in my database.
Yeah. And I think what you'll find out, Leanne, is some of them have moved or they don't have the same phone number, or if you send them an email first, it'll bounce back. I mean, over 10 years, people have life changes, right? And so I always say be prepared for a little bit of disappointment when you first start cleaning up your database, but you know what? Then you have a true and accurate picture of where to go from here. You know, if you start with 300 and you're down to 270, okay, well, we've moved 30 out. That means I got to go sell 30 more houses to get some more people back in my database. So just know that there might be some disappointment, but you'll move through it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question.
One
Chad,
final
looks like
question.
you got lots of options for sending books over here, so.
Yes, I do. One final question.
One final question. Hey, and if you don't get a book from Chad, you can always buy them on Amazon. They're back in stock. They've been out for a while, but they're back. So Amazon, it's called Embrace, Empower, Evolve. So
Brace, Empower, Evolve. Kendra Cook on Amazon.
yes. Anybody
Go
else?
ahead, Oren.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey Kendra, how are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good. So I posted it in the chat. So should I leave voicemails or not? Because sometimes,
100%.
definitely leave voicemail, right?
100%.
Okay.
And if you're getting 50% callback, just change up your script. Use the hey, I got some exciting news, or I've got something I need to invite you to, or whatever. Just change up your voicemail and see if that will get some more callbacks for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
50% callback's actually really good.
That's
So,
very good. It's very good. And once you get in the flow with them more, that number will go up. Your percentage
What-
rate will be better.
Yeah, it's past clients. I usually expect a little higher than 50%. It's not like, cold calling or anything like that.
Yeah, but people have a life. Don't forget, they don't need us till they need us. So when you leave a voicemail and they're like, "Oh, I don't need him right now. I'm not going to call him back." But
Right.
when, at least you're dripping on them and staying in front of them so they don't forget you. That's the key.
Voicemail it is.
Okay.
So for those of you that have New Year's, just New Year's goals and resolutions that you want to hit, what you don't track will not happen over time. I recently got on the scale and I had stopped my tracking of weighing myself every Monday, and it went for about 5 months. And guess what I found out when I had stopped tracking?
Gain some weight.
Ooh, that scale did not look too good. It did not look very good. So now I'm going to work and not eating any sweets during Thanksgiving. I had to put myself in jail from the sweets and all the food because I had lost track of my tracking. So I'm super excited. On January 8th, same time, we will be going over Kendra's new great tracking and what you track and how you track it and why it's important. So have a wonderful holiday season. Happy Hanukkah to those of you that celebrate. Merry Christmas to those of you that celebrate. Have an amazing new year. And if you find, did you guys all get value from this? Raise your hands. If you could do one favor for us, if this brings you value and you get a client out of it, could you please point it to the loan officer and give them an opportunity that invited you on today? We want to help you with your business. We want to help you grow. We don't want to just take and say, give me. We want to come with our hands out with great value like Kendra. And I know she delivered that to you today.
Guys, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy holidays, guys. Thanks for being
Guys.
on.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank
see
you.
y'all.
Great
That's
job.
all.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Beth. Thank you, Jeremy.